Alright, so that's Jeremy's rx8 all wrapped up. I think it made a peak of like 226, 227 horsepower. He basically requested three things that he wanted with the car. He wanted to relive his youth. He had an RX3 coupe way back when he was younger. So he wanted that old school, pulse on the idle, that brap. Obviously he wanted more power than what the rx8 had, and he wanted flames. And yeah, definitely got that old school brap that he was looking for. That pulse, it idles like it was an old rx3 coupe that he had back in the day. Power wise, I mean, it had we dynoed the car before we touched it. It had 150 horsepower at the wheels, so he's had a significant increase in power. And flames wise, like he definitely got his flames. Yeah, so now it's ready to go. As soon as he signs a waiver to say that we're not responsible for him burning the bumper bar off the car or setting any fires on any country roads. But in all seriousness, we turned it down. Obviously, we couldn't give it back to him with flames like that coming out the back of it. Yeah, so it's all done. I think you'll be pretty happy with it, really. It drives really well on the road, and yeah, it has everything that he asked for. So yeah, we'll have a look at what he's got and wrap this video up. So he wanted to relive his youth with an old school, so he's got his monster taco on there, and it definitely has the idle that he wanted. And that's a good thing about the Haltech too, with the being able to control the stepper motor. Like, we've gone back to a cable throttle and an IDA throttle body, but you turn the key, it starts and it idles, I mean, from dead cold, so can't complain about that. And just an FYI on the intake, the filters rob 22 horsepower. Unbelievable. I didn't believe it at first. We've done multiple runs, but yep, 22 horsepower is what those filters consume. Obviously the peak power numbers were without the filters. But yeah, that's surprising. You wouldn't think that a bit of foam could actually soak up that much power, but it does. We've done a lot of work and had multiple engine configurations in this car. We've had it for a little while now. I think in total like 5 or 6 different engines have been in it. We've tried everything from 6-port to a 4-port, Bridgeport, semi-PP, yeah, hybrid. It's got a peripheral exhaust in it now, and yeah, there's no doubt about it, these renisis engines are hard work. There is so much work that goes in for minimal gain. It's actually hard to explain how much work is involved in making power with a renisis engine. I guess they're highly tuned from the factory. That's probably the best way to put it. It's to make the power that they do, like 200 odd horsepower at the flywheel from factory, and then anything you do pretty much goes backwards. It's to make any positive gain. It's hard work. Yeah, we definitely learned a lot of lessons on this one. It's not like you know, a turbo engine where you just put a pound of boost in it, or it was an aspirated engine, put some boost into it and make power. It's hard work. I'll show you a little bit on. I won't go to bore you too much. I'll show you a little bit of what we actually did with exhaust ports. So the big thing with the renisis engine was, I mean, the internet will tell you, is that the side exhaust port is this big restriction, and you need to have, you know, more exhaust gas flow. It couldn't be further from the truth. We've tried everything from having the 5 exhaust ports to blocking a center port, and just having the 4 ports to blocking all the ports and just running the peripheral exhaust. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So that was the original plate. Now that's a 6-port engine, obviously. Now we welded up the side exhaust port and ran the engine with the rx8 rotors. Gains minimal. The next thing we did was, now that's hard work. There is so much time into that. That's I wouldn't go down that road ever again. We've gone to a 4-port, obviously Bridgeported it, and rather than welding up the exhaust port, we blocked it with aluminium. So we melted aluminium and pretty much turned the shop into a foundry. We've melted scrap aluminium down into ingots and then melted that down again and poured it in to block off the exhaust, so it is completely blocked, just to run the peripheral exhaust. And this is a very similar setup to what is in the engine now. So the engine that is in the car now is a 4-port engine. It's not a 6-port. The 6-port has this humongous lack of torque down low. It's like an old style peripheral port where nothing happens until 5,000 or 6,000, and then you actually start to make some power. But under that, it's a dog to drive. The 4-port was so much more responsive. Yeah, so that's what's in it now. It's got a 4-port in it with a peripheral exhaust port. The big thing that we did differently was it doesn't have rx8 rotors anymore. It's got Series 5 turbo rotors in it, and that's where the power increased. The 10:1 compression ratio is not a power gaining item at all. Yeah, I mean, it's a brag and riders. The rotary engine differs massively compared to a piston engine. With a piston engine where you do, like a high compression ratio, you still have the same volume. You still got this stroke that has the volume of air, where with a rotary engine, when you increase compression, you actually lose volume, and that's what I found. By dropping the compression, that's where we started to make power. We've got the volume of air and fuel back into the engine, and that's where it responded most. So, every day is a lesson learned, and that's what we learn on this one. And yeah, Jeremy can come pick his car up now and enjoy it. And if anybody sees him on the road, he'll be the one that's dropping fireballs out the back of the car. So you'll definitely know it's him. So yeah, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, drop a comment. Doesn't cost anything to hit the subscribe button or hit a like button. Keep up to date with what we're doing, and we'll keep this going. Thank you.